Welcome to our Tuesday meditation. Today we're doing a cognitive clarity meditation. So this is going to be a little bit different from the other meditations we've done. I'm also joined by Master Yoda right here, which is a good backdrop for trying to cultivate a better sense of cognitive clarity. So the first time I ever did a meditation, the first time I ever heard about meditation, it was in high school in New York. And a person told us, look at an object for 5 minutes, nothing else. So what we're going to do is get an object. Whatever, it can be a pen, it can be a cup, any like innocuous object that you have laying around. And we're going to try to look at that object for 5 minutes, nothing else. So it's a very simple way to cultivate better cognitive clarity. Whatever else is happening tomorrow, yesterday, it doesn't matter. Simply stare at the object, the curvatures, the lines, building your mental space, building your focus, right? Really helping your cognition, helping the skill of mindfulness. So we're going to do like just some deep breathing, and then we're going to move into this cognitive clarity, right? So try to find an object. It can be anything. And let's focus on cultivating this mind space for better focus, right? It's one of the very important tools of mindfulness. When we do it in classrooms, one of the main reasons we do it is because of the correlation with better test performance, right? So let's do some deep breathing. Bring yourself to a comfortable state. Just breathe in a natural rhythmic manner. Not forcing yourself to breathe. Letting gravity settle us down if we're seated, if we're laying down. And we can begin this cognitive clarity meditation by simply focusing on the nature of our mind, right? Checking in with our mind, our consciousness. Just passively, non-judgmentally observe the nature of your thoughts. You're trying not to get attached to any single one. You can visualize yourself like you're seated on a busy train. You're looking out the window at the flow of your consciousness. Right? We're observing our cognition. Right, the train of our thoughts, right? Dr. Choul, who we've done a few meditations with, calls it the monkey mind, right? Jumping from one thing to another. Let's just observe our monkey mind. No judgment, no attachment. And if it's hard for you to let go of any one cognition, any one thought, you can always return to the flow of the breath. Simply focusing on the cool inhale, the feeling of the breath as you hold it, and then the warm exhale. And after we've observed the nature of our mind, our thoughts, our cognitions, let's take 5 minutes. 5 minutes of silence as we hold a single object. It can be anything. A pencil, the image of a cup, the image of a chair, something neutral. right? The image of a house. And we're going to spend 5 minutes simply sitting with this image in our mind. Many people like to imagine a flame, right? The image of a fire in your mind, right? The crackling, the noises. And this is different from a visualization, right? In a visualization meditation, we're really immersing our 5 senses. This is more for focus. We're testing the limits of our cognition. Are we able to simply hold this one object in our mind for 5 minutes? So let's begin. And for those joining a little bit later, we're simply holding an object in our mind for 5 minutes or 4 minutes now. Really expanding the reach of our focus, of our consciousness. Right now I'm picturing a flame. Whatever other thoughts come in my mind, I'm letting them dissipate, right? Just letting them go back into the far reaches of my subconscious, my unconscious. And I'm holding this picture in my mind of a flame. Right? Testing my focus, testing my cognition. for those of us who really want to expand this practice, I would continue sitting in silence. Usually I have music in the background, but even music can be a distraction sometimes, right? Really building this practice of silence, of contemplation, and of focus, right? Simply observing the flow of your mind, of your conscious, and holding an object for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, for 20 minutes, for 30 minutes, for an hour. Some people can do it for even longer than that. But this is a skill that we develop. So for those of you who want to go past 5 minutes, continue doing so. In silence, in reflection. But as we always do, as we come out of our meditation, let's set an intention, right? It's not worth meditating for an hour if it doesn't translate into our behaviors, into our interpersonal functioning with others and with ourselves. So let's set an intention. How do we plan on utilizing this cognitive clarity in our day-to-day life? Whatever intention comes to your heart. I plan to be more mindful around others. I'm not going to check my phone when others are speaking. That's a nice concrete behavior, and we should hold ourselves accountable if we set that intention. When I read a book, I'm not going to check my phone, right? That way we're really expanding our focus in our day-to-day lives, right? So set that intention. Let's take 1 or 2 or 3 deep final breaths, the biggest breaths we'll take of the entire day. And after having done this 5-minute practice, right, it should be a bit easier to focus on the inhale, holding of the breath, and the exhale. So let's take a 5-second inhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Holding the exhale. The air as it gives us relief, energy, vitality. We can even hold the breath for a longer period of time, like we used to do in elementary school. Who can hold their breath the longest? But it's not a competition, so we can just exhale back out, forcefully, gently, mindfully, to a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We can open our eyes. Bring some movement back. And let's use Yoda's advice. Do or do not. There is no try. Right? So thank you all for doing this with me, cognitive clarity. Now it's time to get to work. So I'll put it into practice right now. So I appreciate you all. Join us next week.